So I have a strong love for Japanese dramas. They are easily my favorite genre, especially when it comes to like BL and even just like regular boy girl romance, because there's something about the way that this drama is structured, and it might be a little because of how like just production wise they do things and the things that they consider important just across the board, regardless of the production company, that makes you're watching a Japanese drama. And they are my kind of favorite because of that, right? There is an element of just originality and a respect for someone's craft, right? So oftentimes with Japanese dramas, you will find that when they adapt a work, a manga, a novel, whatever, they always adapt it properly, almost page by page. And so you never actually have to worry if you hear your favorite manga is being adopted into a live action, that they will rewrite things. That almost never happens. It's even to the point where I've heard of like an author committing suicide because they like readapted her work or his work into something else that wasn't like what was originally in the original script, right? And that's just goes to show how much this means to them. Like they respect people's like effort. If you've created something, that intellectual property that you have, that work and time, they have a respect for it. And I think it's cultural that they are kind of like that, right? So if you ever like give up your work, you never have to worry, right, that whoever like takes up your IP or buys it from you is going to like do something weird with it. That's like a very beautiful thing, I find, right? Another thing that I also love about like Japanese dramas is a sense of how they're able to create something beautiful in just the ordinariness of life, right? In the mundaneness of life. They can take something as simple as, having breakfast and going to work and turn it into something worth watching. It still carries that mundaneness and the ordinariness to it, but it also has that extra element of humanness, and they kind of not beautify it, but just make it interesting, that even though it's something you're like, this should not be that interesting, and this should not be something worth watching, you find yourself keep watching, and you kind of enjoy it, and you kind of live vicariously through the characters in the drama. That's something that I'm really good at, just the slice of life genre. That's also part of why I like Japanese drama so much, because they have this element down right, this trope down, this genre down, and I just enjoy it. It's very slow, it's very like monotone, but there's something about it that's just, at least the way they've done it in Japan, that's just my style, right? And I think they value things like that. And so a lot of dramas you end up watching will have that element in some way that I think that you will not find in any other like production in any other country. And that's very different to say like Thai, and not to like bring them up, but I am still a little like salty because I just finished Me and Thee, and I have a real issue with how they've like changed a lot of the portion of this drama, right? Even though I'm not like, I never read the old novel, right? But I did read a little bit about like Roma Moke, and I was so excited for seeing them on screen, and what like their story would be shaped as given that novel, right? Because they were basically an established couple by that time in Me and T's story, right? So I expected to see something like that, and I was sorely disappointed. And they basically just followed the same narrative that Me and T already had. So it was like watching Me and T, but also for Roman Moke, and it was kind of not like, it was not what I was expecting, right? I would say that they, kept Tawan, and that storyline, they kept the Pet and Santa one kind of almost properly, right? But still, I know they changed a few things. So yeah, that's just something that I am always on edge watching a Thai drama, because 9 out of 10 they are going to change something, and I'm not gonna like the change, right? So that's something that Japanese drama gets a point for, right? In the case of this drama, Countdown to Yes, I was kind of not, I didn't have this on my radar, just because I technically never have any Japanese drama on my radar, because I always like the synopsis of Japanese dramas, right? So when I see synopsis, I am always like, when is it coming out? Like, and that just like ruins my mood when I find out that it's not even started like filming, right? So I tend not to like keep track of what's coming out for Japan, right? But this just dropped, right? I opened the website and I watched the first episode, and it was great. Countdown to Yes is a 10 episode drama, and so far that first episode has been really, really, really good. Like, it's just my style. It's hard to explain, but like, I just love dramas like this. So in this drama, you have Minato and Wataru that are friends. They've been friends since high school, right? And they've lived together the minute they left high school and started university, and they only like parted ways after university, right? And this is the moment that Wataru kind of recognizes his feelings for Minato, right? And it is like, I think they skip like 5 years and then they meet in the future, right? And you can kind of tell that Minato has always had a thing for him, anyways, and that's very common. I would say, like, there's that one character that like has always liked the other character and they just didn't know. So that's kind of the case in this, I would say. So it's basically like a story about two best friends that kind of discover like their feelings for one another, right? I mean, these boys go through university having girlfriends and they still don't figure it out, right? So like, this is one of those things that it just clicks when it clicks, and it took a while for Wataru to get there. I think Minato got there a lot earlier, but yeah, it took Wataru a while to get there. And I guess this is kind of how their relationship changes over time, right? And again, it's one of those things that it's just gonna be cozy and like no bad like angst. I mean, there'll be a little angst, but like nothing that I won't enjoy, right? So yeah, I watched the first episode. It was so good. I have to say, the actor for Wataru is just so like handsome. Even the actor for Minato, right? And they kind of fit. Like, even when they were in high school, they looked like they were in high school to an extent. And I have to assume these guys are like younger or on the younger side, because they really, really like, I was like, they could be in high school. Like, I feel like I would have seen this even in high school, right? So, that's like a good thing, and doesn't take you out of the story, right? And also, when they are a little older, you also kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess this makes sense, right? And so there's no like disconnect in that sense. It just flowed so well, and their character is just like, they have such good chemistry as friends that like you are rooting for them, right? I think that one of the scenes that like really did it for me, and this is one of the weird things about me when I'm watching a show, I always like anticipate what the next scene is, or what I wish the next scene would be, right? So the scene where they are saying goodbye outside of the apartment that they've lived in for like 4 years, right? Once Minato leaves, I had like this like premonition that like Wataru was going to go back into the apartment and cry, and that's exactly what happened. And I was like, yes, like this is what I like. I like when I can predict something, and it's like what I would have wanted for that scene, right? That's just like, I do that so often. Like, I was watching a drama and I feel like, but it would be so much better if it would go this way, or if they had done it this way. Having me think that I'm like an author and like a screenwriter, like these people, I'm just like, I could do this better, I could write this better, I could have done something differently in this scene. But like, yeah, this one was really good in like actually showing you exactly what you wanted to see, and Wataru kind of discovering that about himself. We've not yet gotten Minato's like point of view, but I know we'll get it. That's something about like Japanese dramas. You always get the point of view of the other person. It's just one episode, but it's usually pivotal to the story, because it kind of shows you how that person thinks. And also, oftentimes, very, very often, not always, but often, the person that's narrating, like the character that's narrating, the protagonist, is often an unreliable narrator, right? And so you kind of sometimes need that other perspective to kind of clarify things, right? This happens in My Beautiful Man. This happened in My Personal Weatherman, right? It's just a thing that's very common, and so I'm looking forward to that. We'll probably get that to like episode 8 or something. And I am curious about what Minato's like point of view would tell us, because I am wondering if he's always liked Wataru, right? Because you get hints of it and how he talks, and just how he kind of looks and reacts to Wataru, that he's in it for a different reason, but also he's the one that ends up leaving after university is over, right? So maybe not, right? So I'm very curious about that kind of thing, right? Because another thing that Minato does often when he sees Wataru, right, is that he'll just hug him, right? He's like this like recharge energy for him. Like he just needs to have like that contact with Wataru to like um get him kind of charged up. And I just love that. I love how that's like a thing that they have going on. And it's either interesting that they are just discovering this. Oftentimes it's when they have those girlfriends that they discover that like I like this person, and it's a shame they never like show us or will not show us like how they kind of like um have reacted to each other having girlfriends, right? But again, like we saw, like they still live together and did everything together, like they share their birthdays. Like to share your birthday with your friend as opposed to your girlfriend is actually like wow, that's diabolical. Like but yeah, so this is obviously a long time coming, I think, but I think for Minato, he's always had some feelings for Wataru. From the drama, obviously you can tell that Minato is more of the quiet type, and Wataru is kind of part of the reason he comes out of his shell, or at least he's very receptive to Wataru, right? And that kind of plays also into their relationship. It plays into their dynamic. They both like photography. That's another thing, right? So they really built up this friendship to like be something you root for, like I said, right? And I just they are so cute. Like I don't know how to explain how cute they are, and I am looking forward to more episodes. It's a shame because I think Japanese dramas only like one episode a week. That is the biggest issue I have with like just BL dramas in general as well. Like they always hear once a week, as opposed to like BG dramas that we hear like 2 episodes back to back. This just, I don't know. Anyways, hopefully one day we get so much supply that they start to like releasing 2 episodes in a week. But until then, right, I think we might have to wait for next week for the next episode. But yeah, I am just looking forward to this, and I just know it's going to be good and I will love it. Yeah, so that's really all I have to talk about in this episode. This has been a really good first episode, and I'm looking forward to more and more. So that's all. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll speak to you guys again next week. Have a lovely one. Bye.